Hey Eurovision party people, welcome to Eurovision is My Religion, where we chat, laugh and cringe at the Eurovision Song Contest. It's chill, it's funny, and it's the Eurovision hangout you didn't know you needed. Join us as we dissect the Euro madness. I'm your host today, Gerda, and with me I have the first one to randomly break into song, Simona.
Oh, I feel pressure now to randomly break into song.
Any song will do.
I'm not gonna break into song for now.
Okay, let's keep
I'll
it
keep
later
it for
in the
later.
episode. And the harshest Sweden critic, Katrina.
Yes, and this is my new personality trait that I developed this year. Thank you, Sweden.
Great. So we have a special episode on our hands where, aside from the kind of the usual weekly updates and releases, we are talking about the semi-final draw and the announcement of the countries that will be participating in the first, second semi-final and which order they will be participating in. So I'm sure we'll have some predictions. I'm sure we'll have some speculations about what the semi-final order means for their chances to qualify. So I guess let's start with the first semi-final. And we have, how many countries is there? 16? 17?
How many countries in the first?
Great start.
Great
Gerda.
start.
I didn't even know.
I think it's 15, 16.
Katrina, do you want to list them out for the listeners who don't have it on hand?
Let's count them. Let's count them out.
Maybe start with the first half.
Exactly. So in the first half of the first semi-final, we have Ukraine, Cyprus, Poland, Serbia, Lithuania, Croatia, and Ireland. So that's 7. And in the second half, we have 8 countries. So 15 in total.
Great.
In the second half, we have Slovenia, Iceland, Finland, Portugal, Luxembourg, welcome back, Australia, Azerbaijan, and Moldova.
And I guess just to remind the listeners, only 14 songs are out at the moment. I think 3 of those songs have already qualified to the finals. So France, Germany, and I forgot the last one. Italy, yes, my favorite.
As of this recording, I would make a note.
Yes, as of this recording. Also in Spain, so 4 countries.
So we're just missing the reveal of the UK song, which
UK
is imminent we hear, and Sweden.
Yeah, so I guess we don't have a kind of a full understanding of the songs, but I think from watching the national finals, from the usual chatter, we have a pretty decent understanding, right?
Many years of statistics of which countries are generally likely to qualify, which countries generally get support from the neighbors and which don't. We can start making some predictions.
Yeah, the political voting that could happen as well, depending on what countries are in which semi-final.
And certain voting blocks.
Just a question in terms of it's not a running order, or is it running order as well? It's just the list of countries, and running order will be happening later.
That's it. The running order, they decide when all the performances are out, because things like what kind of props are being used for which song are taken into consideration. Also, the producers ensure that we don't end up with free ballots in the row, and there is a bit of mixing of the vibe. So that will be, the actual order will be decided closer to the date.
Has anybody sued them for the way that they put the order in?
Well, I think any country that ends up in the second spot,
exactly my point,
which is also called the death slot, or how do they call it?
Yeah. That is usually prone for suing. I'm sure somebody should take this up. Maybe Latvia, at least. I think one of the years was second for.
Yeah. And I guess you mentioned kind of the political aspect of the voting. It was interesting to see when they were drawing the semi-final participants that they split all of the participants into these groups that tend to vote kind of similarly or for each other. So, for example, I guess we're more familiar with Baltic countries. So all of the Baltic countries were in one group, plus I think UK, Ireland, and one of the
countries with big populations of Baltic countries.
Yeah. That's not random. You might want to say, what? Baltics and UK and Ireland? That's so random.
Kind of, I may have got the countries wrong, but it was like from the strategic voting point of view.
So it wasn't geography only. It was like literally the patterns were recognized, which countries had tend to vote for each other, and they were in the same block as a voting block.
They have a whole data, in all fairness. You run a quick algorithm and it's
easy
clear
to see those patterns.
And I think I've heard that before with the case of San Marino and Italy, where I think San Marino kind of relies on Italian kind of network, so they try to kind of put it in different semi-final than the Italians are voting in, so that you wouldn't have San Marino kind of population voting for their own act.
That's interesting. And the Cyprus and Greece, of course, as well, were separated. That's another famous alliance.
Yeah. So they can't kind of separate it completely because they still do a draw, but they kind of in those groups. So I think it was like groups of 6 countries. They kind of tried to split it that like 3 will be in the first semi-final, 3 in the second semi-final. You still end up with some countries that may be like voting for each other.
Yeah.
But at least it kind of minimizes that risk somewhat.
Yeah. Like
I didn't realize this thing actually, but this was happening. In this is where we sort of structure the draws and stuff like that. That's quite interesting, and it's interesting to have a public acknowledgement of the voting patterns that are happening.
Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah, I think it's transparent and
exactly. But yeah, even with that, if we look then at the first semi-final, like a couple of voting blocks are quite obvious, right? So we have Ukraine, Poland, and Lithuania in the first semi.
Yeah.
On top of that, as you said, Gerda, we also have the UK voting and Ireland in the first half. That will also help the Eastern European bloc, definitely with the diaspora in the UK and Ireland. And
especially
also the Balkans.
Lithuania.
Especially Lithuania. And the Balkans as well. We have Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia.
And Moldova, is that Balkan country?
Maybe not Balkan, but that's another one that could help Ukraine.
Yeah.
Talking of Ukraine, however, I mentioned that I had a quick look at qualification percentages. And Ukraine has 100% qualification rate.
That's mad.
The opposite of Latvia almost.
They have never failed to qualify.
That's 13 out of 13. Good songs.
Yeah,
and, they deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm sure
really
there will be some kind of political element as well, but I think all of their songs have been deservedly
at least to qualify to the final. Yeah, in all fairness, they are so consistent in the quality. It's just
so I think it's
beautiful.
It's probably one of those countries that we can speculate about qualifying this year as well, because we already know the performance. I think all love the performance. It's definitely popular, and with that kind of record, I think it's hard to see them not qualifying.
Exactly, so that's a no-brainer. Interestingly, Lithuania has a very, very strong qualification rate as well. I didn't realize it, but it's almost 70%. It's 68 or 60 something, much higher than Estonia and much higher than Latvia.
Poor Latvians.
But Latvians have a win, though,
Yeah, all of the other Baltic countries have wins.
True.
I think Lithuania had a really good qualifying run since the pandemic and more in the recent years. I think we really struggled at the start, but now that we kind of got pretty much what Eurovision
and
needs.
How do you quantify? Is that qualification sort of statistics since when? Because previously, if you wouldn't qualify, isn't it that you were prevented from participating 1 year? There was some kind of punishments initially.
Yeah, that was early 2000s.
Early Lithuania would only appear every other year for quite a while.
So let's see. I think it's the count since when the current format that we have today was introduced, because it says Lithuania 11 out of 18. Which actually gives them 61%. But I saw another video that only took into consideration the last 10 years. So if we only take the last 10 years, Lithuania has 70% qualification rate, because as you noted, Gerda, the start back in a couple of decades ago was a bit rough. But Lithuania's been doing quite well recently.
Yeah, I guess at the point of the recording, we still don't know what Lithuania will select.
Yes.
But I guess we do have our favorite.
Yeah.
And
we can tell that we will find out today.
I think if he wins, that's a no-brainer as well. I think that would
By
qualify.
he, we mean
Sylvester
Belt. Yes.
Let's see how well this episode ages.
Imagine.
Yeah, I think like 3 hours later, I'm regretting my comments.
100% sure.
No, I think I don't know. With the other bands, with the Roop, they might just qualify if by the power of the big name in Eurovision.
I think we would qualify with any of the current top 3 songs. We would qualify, I think.
The top 3 is
like Kaboom.
Oh, Kaboom as well.
Kaboom, the Roop, and Look Delk. I think we'll qualify for all of them, especially since UK and Ireland is voting.
Yeah.
So we are really good at voting for ourselves. So from our countries.
Oh yeah.
Because we are so spread around. So I think we are qualifying for sure. Just I think our good chance to actually be, get to be known in the world and also get a good good position on the final is actually Look Delk, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I guess the other performance that we are already aware of is Ireland, which is also in the first
Ireland.
It's becoming a running joke. First semi-final, first semi-half, first half. So same as kind of Ukraine and Lithuania. I think we talked about it before with Bambi Fug, kind of like the performance, but not entirely clear how likely it would be.
Yeah.
This is, let's face it, if you look at the first semi-final, it's much stronger than the second semi-final. So Ireland, even though they picked a finalist, some kind of distinguishing song, and if a performance is done well, they're still, I think, not gonna
it's not gonna
qualify it strongly if they do. It's gonna be by chance because I think there's just so many countries that will be fighting for that qualifying
and
place.
I'll continue quoting statistics. They certainly run against them. Ireland has 35% qualification rate, one of the lowest, despite having most wins
exactly.
ever.
And that is a common misconception, people who are listening. Sweden hasn't won the most Eurovision.
I mean, they're now
tied. It is Ireland.
They're tied now.
They equalized last year. But still, Ireland has been struggling recently. And let's see if
I think they'll struggle to get through, but they have a chance at least now, rather than sending the boy bands and stuff like that.
Yeah, they might get some support from the UK, but again, we'll see. I think it will really depend on whether it's kind of we do have other niche kind of interesting performances in that semi-final. I think one that I guess is not on there, which runs along the similar theme, is Norway. I would say kind of another witchy kind of dark performance.
But that's in the second semi, right?
That's in the second
but even this semi, we have Slovenia.
Okay, yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, Slovenia again, which like kind of.
But I think that Slovenia, and I think people will cancel me for saying that, it's hyped up by Eurovision fans, not Eurovision Song Contest watchers.
Agreed.
I think
we haven't seen it live yet, right? We've only seen the video.
And I haven't listened to it since, which I found, like I said, video intriguing and interesting and stuff like that. Not a bad song. But I listen to quite a lot of Eurovision these days, and I haven't listened to that song.
Is it, where is it on your Eurovision scoreboard towards the bottom?
I think it was, I think that was one of the differences between our scoreboards. I was looking at it this morning. I think you have Ireland much higher than I do, and kind of offsetting position in Slovenia, because I think I do like that song.
Yeah, I think I need to listen to it again. Maybe I'll prop it up in my list, but it is on the low side. Just because I suppose I didn't get as engaged to the song as I hoped so. But fans are loving it, but it's not all the fans that like. Monica Liu was, fans loved her, and that wasn't the best performance of ours in Lithuania.
Yeah, and I think with Slovenia, it will definitely depend on the staging, because she's, I think she's an opera singer or kind of opera adjacent singer. So, if she's just kind of on her own on the stage, kind of not really moving much, that's a different performance from the music video that we're seeing.
Nude bodies, loads of nude bodies would really help. But there are,
stage
limitations. How many people? 6 people are allowed on the stage?
Yeah.
Oh, not that many nude bodies. Yeah. Not as many as I would like.
Exactly. So yeah, I guess that will definitely depend, because otherwise it has a risk of just being a kind of ballads kind of staging and just disappearing amongst other songs.
What else can we see in this first semi-final? Finland and Iceland, potential voting for each other, but Luxembourg, that will help Portugal, given that 50% of Luxembourg's population is Portuguese.
Would you say that they are likely to reciprocate that help? Is there like a shared love between?
I'm not sure. We should ask my boyfriend, but
I guessed soon to our podcast, I'm sure. I wonder. I think Luxembourg's song is not too bad, but we haven't heard quite a few songs in the semi-final to be able to tell whether it will strongly fit. I think, like I said, a typical Eurovision Song Contest watcher doesn't necessarily care that Luxembourg hasn't been performing for a while.
No.
So because the fans probably vote up just for the
songs
sheer,
they like,
for that as well.
Exactly. Well, I can see Luxembourg song being appealing to Southern Europeans, to be fair.
Yeah, I think
it has a bit of
and it has French
fire
as well.
And it has French.
Yeah.
Although France is
it's
not voting in this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think again, it's such a strong semi. I think Luxembourg, I can see them qualifying, but it will require a few strong countries to send very suboptimal performances for that to happen, I believe. I think the other country that I mentioned, Finland, I guess we already know the song for Finland. I think that's, I don't know, I may be optimistic, but for me that's a qualifier as well. I think that will go to the final. And the only kind of question mark is about whether, I think I heard that Croatia, one of the front runners, is also kind of this wacky performance. So if they
another Croatian wacky performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So I just worry that maybe there's going to be too many wacky
too many joke countries.
I think Finland could be a bit of a split. Either people love it or it goes down like a lead balloon. Is that the expression? I don't know.
It will be the expression after this podcast.
Yeah, that's the expression.
Shall we do our predictions? I suggest.
I feel like I've been doing that all.
Yeah, but what do you think will be the 5 countries that will qualify and 5 countries that will not qualify, bearing in mind potential help from the neighbors, what we already know about these songs, historical patterns, and so on. And I can start. I think the 5 that will qualify will be...
already had a list in my head since you suggested this.
Exactly. I already had an idea. So my guess would be, so the guaranteed qualifiers: Ukraine, Serbia, Lithuania, Finland, and Australia. And the ones that I'm mostly doubtful about are Cyprus, Slovenia, I'm not convinced, Iceland, Portugal, and Azerbaijan.
Okay.
So you don't think that Ireland will qualify altogether?
No, Ireland. I think Ireland will. I think it's the borderline one. It's like not guaranteed, but I didn't have it in my absolute no.
How did you make the case for Serbia? Did I miss something? Serbia hasn't released their song.
No, they haven't, but they have other 2 Balkan countries voting for them. They have diasporas in the Nordics and Sweden.
Is
they have
Sweden voting in the semi-final or in the second one?
I believe Sweden is voting in this one. Yeah, Germany, Sweden, and the United Kingdom. So yeah, a lot of Serbs in Sweden and Germany. And also they just generally have very, very strong qualification track record. So those are my reasons, despite not knowing anything about the song or their national selection.
I guess one that I was interested to hear your view about was Iceland. You put it in the non-qualifier bucket. I guess we had that explosion in social media a couple of weeks back about them having a Palestinian artist in the selection process. And I think they're still very high in the odds. I think 3rd or 4th. And kind of the final odds.
I'll be honest, I completely forgot that. If they
You
select,
can change your mind.
if they select the Palestinian guy, I think that will strengthen their odds quite significantly.
Yeah. That will be a political vote as well. So I think.
Are your guys top 5, bottom 5 similar, or what would you change?
I think I haven't seen anything decent. And again, this may age really badly, but in the Moldova's auditions, I wasn't convinced by any of the singers there. I guess we haven't seen the final
they're
yet.
Still ongoing. I forgot. That was
Yeah,
such
you'll have to watch it
audition.
I feel like you got PTSD from watching the whole auditions. So I don't know. I think Moldova sent these great performances normally, and I don't think I've seen anything to convince me that this will be another great performance. So I would put it in the non-qualifying bucket. But again, we'll see the final this weekend. So I may change my mind. I think I would put Ireland probably in the non-qualifying. It will be very dependent on how it will sound live, because I don't think it sounded well live in the Irish selection process. But we kind of discussed that maybe there were kind of broader sound issues that night. So she could sound, they could sound great. The
artist commented as well back about the staging and the issues in terms of the budget limits that we had to do. So they said now, since we have a bit more money, since we won, it should be improved. That's what they said. They did comment on that too.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, it's, as I said, borderline. I'm not convinced from the national final, but it could be significantly improved, and I may be persuaded otherwise. I think, I don't know. I always say the last few years, Poland's participants weren't really impressive to me, but I think they do have strong diaspora. So even no matter how I feel about Poland's choice, it may go. They may qualify still.
Poland's song is released tonight, isn't it?
Monday, I think.
Or Monday, sorry.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting because we are not going through selection process since they screwed up the whole process last year. So it's safer to just pick what you want instead of pretending it's a contest of some sort.
That's just bizarre. Yeah, I saw some memes that people, comments on Reddit, that people are trying to look at the source code, because they kind of posted this YouTube video kind of premiere.
You can start
they
waiting
were
for it.
Trying to look at the source code of the video to kind of dissect who's actually representing Poland this year. It was very conspiratory and really interesting way to find out who's representing your country.
And some techie people are into Eurovision or what?
Yeah. Strong tech community in Poland, clearly.
And Simona, any differences in terms of what you believe strongly?
No fairness, I already forgot some of the stuff that you said.
That's okay.
But I'm just being fair, honest. Sorry.
Just claim it as your own opinions.
Yeah. I think you mentioned Australia towards the end. I think Australia will definitely qualify. They have such a strong record of sending good songs. So
what's the qualification record for Australia? Do we have?
Must be 100%.
The stats?
I can quickly check, but also I heard the rumor that their representative this year might be Dani Minogue, Kylie Minogue's sister.
What?
I saw that rumor, and then I saw her denouncing this rumor in one of the interviews. So I think, I think she may not. But there was a lot of hype.
It's a shame.
Because she could bring Kylie as well. The voting would go wild for them.
Guys,
and by the way,
Kylie just won her first Grammy.
86% qualification rate for Australia. So
exactly, quite high chances, I think.
I don't think they send rubbish songs. I think it's very.
They take it seriously.
Yeah, they take it seriously, proper Europeans.
Yeah. I think Slovenia will not qualify, and I think it will be a similar. Well, I suppose you remember Austria last year with a Po 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 song, and that was amazing song, and in the final it did really not amazingly.
Well,
I just think that hype
it did quite badly.
So I think because of this is a different type of song for the semi altogether, obviously, but I think that it will have the same effect straight away in the semi-final, that it will not even go into the final. I just think I would be surprised if it resonates so much with a wider public that will be watching.
I completely agree with you.
I don't have our opinions that much.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why I had it in my bottom 5. Okay, shall we move on to the second semi?
Yes, let's do it. The easiest semi.
The easiest semis.
Okay, second semi-final. The weaker semi-final, as we discussed already.
Publicly acknowledged.
Lucky
countries that are participating in this one.
So what do we have? In the first half, we have Austria, Malta, Switzerland, Greece, Czechia, Albania, Denmark, and Armenia. So that's 8 countries. And another 8 countries in the second half. We'll have Israel, Estonia, Georgia, Netherlands, Norway, Latvia, San Marino, and Belgium. And we will also have France, Italy, and Spain voting in the second semi.
I think looking at the top of the list, Malta with the Chanel's impersonator should get some votes from Spain, surely. I mean, she's basically Chanel from Wish.
Yeah, I think Malta, if it improves, especially the performance, maybe moves away slightly from Chanel, but still has like spicy, hot sort of summer style song. It could get through, I think. I'm not too worried about Malta. I think Latvia is lucky.
I think Latvia has a chance.
Latvia finally has a chance to qualify for the final.
It's also in the second half, which helps. Statistically speaking, being in the second half is helpful because you get more people tuning in later. Exactly.
Come on, so nobody's, waiting there for the show to start like we would do.
I think people tend to remember the more recent songs better.
I mean, you either remember first or the last songs.
Probably.
But first, not second. Second, nobody remembers that one.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I think Latvia, I'm really rooting for them. They have a decent song. I think that song will have its audience. It's a very accessible song. The guy can sing. They are in the weak semi. They're in the second half. I think they have a reasonable chance to go through.
Speaking with my Latvian friend, who also watches Eurovision, and they mentioned that
listens to the podcast.
They are listening, but we are a bit behind. So by the time they reach this one, if they do, and I think that person was rooting for Kitty Cat song because it's so catchy. In all fairness, the whole episode, the last episode that we talked about Latvia, whatever we talked about, I still could hear Kitty Cat song in the back.
Kitty
no, please. It was just out of my head. Now you put it back
exactly.
in.
So he said like it's so memorable. And I kind of say it, but I think a stronger choice for this year is obviously the current song, just because it's not a slow year. I think it's a lot of fun songs happening, or at least released so far. So I think it's actually we're gonna stand out with this one.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think another kind of talking about Baltic countries, I feel positively about Estonia. I think the kind of the front runners are the drugs song.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not drugs. They're not doing drugs. And even the second place, kind of in the odds, Ollie, the toilet's voice. I still like the song. So I feel like whichever way they go, if they pick from those 2 performances, they would be kind of a strong contender for the second semi-final. They would disappear in the first semi-final because first semi-final is just brutal. But in the second semi-final, I can see them qualifying if they pick one of those 2 songs.
Do you think Latvia will vote for Estonia? Just because I know that with Latvia and Lithuania, we always exchange some votes for sure. Estonia always, it's aligned to Scandinavia much more.
And better than us. But unfortunately, Finland is in this first
exactly.
semi-final.
I was thinking they don't have a lot of, their Scandinavian support that
yeah, they better align themselves to Baltic countries again to get some support.
Yeah, do you see any strong voting blocks in this semi?
I guess I don't know whether it's a voting block, but Austria, Czechia, Switzerland, I could see them maybe supporting each other.
Malta and San Marino, depending. I don't know.
But is that a pattern or are we just guessing?
I'm
guessing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there are no clear
Could
historical
Norway
patterns.
and Denmark?
Yeah, Norway, Denmark, potentially. That's one.
I suppose historically, probably Latvia gave points to Estonia and Estonia gave points to Latvia, but I think that pattern is disappearing slowly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for me, just, like
the countries will be on their own, just the song.
Exactly. But I can't just so easily make, I think these five will certainly go through and these five will not go through, like I did with the first semi. I find this one just much, much harder to guess.
I think we probably know fewer songs from this semi-final as well than we did with the first ones. I don't know, like looking at the list, so we know Malta, we know Czechia, we know Albania, we know Latvia and Norway. Okay, so maybe it is fairly evenly split in terms of what we already know. But yeah, all of those songs, I don't know, like I see Norway qualifying for sure.
I think Norway
has one of the strongest qualification records, especially in the recent years. But you know what? I'm not sure whether people will connect with that song that easily. The masses will connect with it easily. The
performance though is
the staging
quite
will
good.
make
The
it.
staging. I think that will push them through, especially since this is a weak semi-final.
Yeah,
I think
fair enough.
Just the quality of a performance could really make it.
Fair enough. And then Austria will be sending a apparently a good rave song. But the problem is, which year was it? They had a very dance pop song that Eurofans really, really liked.
Yeah, I think
but it was a huge flop on stage because the woman couldn't sing. Pia Maria or something like that. I might have just came off a random name. But yeah, it was piano, it was a girl, and
was it the one with the DJ?
The one with the DJ?
Yeah. I like that song.
The song was good,
but she couldn't sing a thing, and
but on the stage it looked terrible.
Yeah, I mean, DJing in general on Eurovision Song Contest doesn't work because it's quite a, it's a toned down sort of performance. It's not enough flash or something else if you just stand behind the deck. I don't think you'll do it so well. People in the arena will enjoy it, obviously, and you'll get a lot of support from the arena, but not necessarily in the public voting.
I guess one of the countries that also stands out to me is San Marino. I have a feeling that they have pretty bad qualification record. It may not be supported by the stats.
I think they do
like the
you're absolutely right. San Marino has 23%, which is even lower than Latvia, which is at 28% qualification.
Okay, yeah, because I remember us watching the San Marino selection even last year, and it didn't sound good.
Like an animal, process. Yeah.
Oh, there you are. That's the singing.
You're welcome.
Say na na na.
Say na 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 was amazing.
That was a banger.
Yeah.
They qualify.
Bring back Say na na na.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe that bit just based on the stats may not qualify.
That's a good, statistically speaking.
Very unlikely.
What about Georgia? Didn't Georgia say what the artist will be? What's their qualification?
Their qualification rate is actually same as Malta and Estonia, and pretty much the same as Austria and Czechia, which all of these countries are between 45 and 47%. And Belgium is there, and Netherlands is there. Anyway, pretty much
that supports our point, right?
That supports my point that it's very difficult to say because most of these countries are around 50% qualification rate.
Is this semi-final then really good for betting?
Oh, yeah.
Not that we recommend betting, by the way, or gambling in any shape, way, or form, but I would imagine.
What is that disclaimer they quickly say at the end of the betting ads?
Yeah, just FYI. But I know, Katrina, you sometimes tap,
sometimes every year,
dabble with.
I engage in gambling.
Engage in certain not advisable activities. But that could be good odds for this semi-final. Not advice.
Agree.
Yeah, I guess the odds may change when we hear more songs, but if you, I think at the moment they may not be.
Blindly speaking.
Blindly speaking, it's a bit of a unclear.
And France, Italy, Spain voting in the semi. Do we see any countries that?
Italy,
San Marino,
Malta, maybe.
That completely contradicts my points that I made at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's just one country, right? Like,
yeah.
If it's a bad song, Italy won't save them. Maybe France will help Belgium a little bit.
Wonder what Belgium will send. Last year's Gustavs I really enjoyed.
So they're sending, what's his name, Musti, and his song is about to be released at some point in the next couple of weeks. He did have an interesting snippet. I guess one thing that I remember about that song is that he was inviting Belgian people to record them singing like a line from his song. So you can expect there to be some kind of feature of many people singing this line. So
nice.
I honestly think this is so cringe. I hate when they pull people faces and like loads of people singing together with your
people
whatever.
Of the world unite.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, united by music.
Oh yes.
Please no.
You're right.
Yeah.
If they put the faces on the screen, it's absolutely cringe. If they somehow blend it and make it less obvious, then maybe it's a fair feature.
Oh, and just remember, Netherlands is sending this artist named Just something, but apparently he's an eccentric character being compared to Käärijä. Fandom says
Finland
he has
not
good chances.
Then, yeah. If it's eccentric.
It can be quite eccentric. Looking forward to seeing his song.
Don't compare yourself to Käärijä. You're setting up yourself for failure.
Yeah, 100%.
And I guess one country that we didn't talk about, we didn't talk about many countries, but one that I just remembered, Albania with Albanian assets.
Yes.
You know what? These kind of singers and these kind of songs have their audience.
Yeah. And they really actually go through the final quite, not easily, but they definitely qualify quite a lot. What's Albania's qualification statistics, please?
This is
before I say anything.
Yeah, let's see. I guess
the only
56%, so towards the middle.
Much more than most of our countries in here.
Yeah.
Sure.
The downside being that I don't see any Balkan countries there. Because I think it's a very kind of...
I'm sure we're going to be corrected about the definitions.
Albanians in Greece, that diaspora might be voting, but other than that, their Balkan bloc is in the first semi, which doesn't help Albania.
She needs to choose her dress wisely, if you know what I mean.
We do. And I think Czechia, interesting song.
If they improve performance.
Yeah, will depend whether she can sing and...
change their jumpsuit.
Yeah. Tone down the kind of aggressive style a little bit.
Yeah, just focus on singing.
Yeah.
And singing well, because the song is fine.
The song is not too bad. I need to... Is there like a Spotify recording that I could judge without the merit of her real life singing?
Yeah, and there's a video as well. And in the video, she looks slightly better. Kind of it's... Yeah, I think it's just that live version that we've seen.
It was a mess.
It was a mess. It was really bad.
I'm looking forward to listening to that one then.
So no clear predictions from the second semi. Is that
honestly
right?
No? I mean, we gave a couple, but that's the most that I could. Willing to give on this one.
Oh man, it's a real shame that Lithuania is in the first semi, but I still believe we can qualify.
I think we established ourselves quite a bit, and we have 3 strong songs for whatever the reason. Not all that I like, but strong performances to remember, I would say. And one more well-known band that people love.
Indeed. So with that, look telk. Let's go and watch the Lithuanian final.
Yay! Bye.
Bye.